Back. I'm Zach alongside Chris from Husker Hype. We're going to break down this game that was extremely disappointing for the Huskers. 30-23 loss. Really just didn't look good. I mean, you saw some improvements from the defense in the second half, but overall, the energy and everything just seemed off. Something was weird about the game, but your initial thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, it's just a huge letdown. I mean, I feel like, there's a lot of games that were just must-win games, but obviously today was a must-win and a should-have-win game for Nebraska, and it was just, I mean, you just come away just kind of feeling like an idiot for hoping and thinking that that they're going to continue to improve and do something. And God, they just came out so flat and so out of energy, and it was tough to see. And then, I mean, Minnesota, they were on a bye week. And then the other thing I didn't really think about is Minnesota's only played 5 games. Nebraska had played 7 games and like I said, Minnesota coming off that bye week. And obviously they just, kind of plowed them over in the first half. The second half, they made some adjustments, which was nice, but just the offense in the second half couldn't do anything. And then, I mean, there's always one or two moments, right, that you just think about. And I feel like that touchdown I thought was a touchdown, third down. I thought he got in. And then, going forward on fourth down, similar to the Michigan game last week, going for it on fourth down and Yant obviously tripping and not getting it was just, rough. So, yeah,
Well,
really
I
disappointing.
always look forward to your tweets during the game because at least I feel sane that I'm thinking the same thing as someone else. Sometimes I turn off Twitter during the games because I just can't stand some of the people trying to give their analysis. But yeah, I mean, there's just a couple things that are disappointing. Martinez has looked great all year, besides the Illinois game, and he comes out today and looked exactly how he looked in the Illinois game. Lost, no pocket presence at all. Passes that he was delivering, they're wide open. Austin Allen was wide open plenty of the times. That's why he had a big game, but he just didn't do anything right. Like at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I don't know. He's such a good athlete, and he's a great kid. So it's so hard not to root for him. But man, it's so frustrating watching him sometimes miss wide open guys or not make reads or there at the end. You always know something's coming. And in the past few years, it's been from Martinez. Last week it was the fumble. This week it was the safety and. Just that deflating moment, when you have a little bit of hope and but in the back of your mind, something's coming. And it's just so hard to watch them continue to struggle and, just not be able to find a way to just get it one time.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a tweet after the game. Huskers at the 1 yard line, or at the 9 yard line, 29-yard line, all late in the game, score 0 points out of those 3 drives. The kicker thing is an issue, but it shouldn't come to that all the time. You should be able to punch the ball in. Yant tripping right there. I mean, he had a lane. He's 235 pounds. He was getting in 100% right there if he doesn't fall down. And, you just didn't see the urgency from Martinez. I don't know why there was nothing in the game plan for him to run today. And why he decided not to run at all. His best asset is his legs. We know that. It opens him up a ton in the pass game. And today he sat there flat-footed in the pocket like he had all day. When he didn't, the offensive line didn't play great in pass protecting, but he just didn't utilize his legs at all. A couple times I saw him sitting there for 3 or 4 seconds, and I'm like, take off. You probably have 10. We all know you've done it a million times at Nebraska. And he just didn't do it today. It's like they told him not to because Minnesota wasn't even running a spy. That was the confusing part. I was like, they don't even have a spy there. They're letting Martinez run. The announcers were sitting here acting like they were shutting him down. No, Martinez just kept processing, and it was just shades of Illinois, and it was so disappointing to see that step back from him. And if there was 2 good things today, it was the fact that you saw Austin Allen play a monster game, and you saw Ramir Johnson really, I mean, I think he continues to grow each week. He just hit the speed. He runs the ball so damn hard. And I think that there's a couple good things there. But overall, and the defense in the second half. The first half, I don't know what that was. It's like they were confused what Minnesota's going to run. They run the same thing every time. It's either a short run or it's that RPO quick pass. Confused, but they made adjustments in the second half and there was nothing. The amount of times that offense got the ball in the second half with the chance to go get that lead and couldn't, super disappointing.
Yeah, I mean the defense was really struggling in the first half, specifically the secondary, getting burned a few times, not making a few plays, and just I don't know. I thought we had some really soft coverage there in the first half of the game. But the second half they did absolutely everything that they needed to. They had back-to-back interceptions on two different drives. And multiple 3-and-out, and just the offense just making a couple chunk plays and even getting past the 50, but then after that so many times just nothing on first and second down. I mean, so many times nothing, and it's 3rd and 8 or it's 3rd and 10, it's 3rd and 11, and then these drives they stall, or we're down in the red zone. And I don't know. I feel like sometimes the playbook really just collapses when we're in the red zone, and we just don't, we're not confident down there with many things, and we end up not getting points in the red zone. I don't know what that is. That was a beautiful throw to Austin Allen at the end for that touchdown. Why don't we do that more? The guy's he's almost 7 foot tall, and we never see that until we need it at the end. Now, granted, at the end, Minnesota's playing soft coverage. They're giving them a lot of stuff. But, I mean, that was a beautiful touchdown drive. Those quick, there were a few that were just Martinez took the guy that was open and just gave him the ball. And I don't know why we couldn't do that a few drives earlier in the game.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest proponent of the fade route in the red zone. But, you look at some of the size Nebraska has with Omar Manning, with Austin Allen, with Vokalek, some of those guys, and with the struggles, why not throw it in there? Because those guys can go up and get it. And I saw your tweet about it, and I was actually just going to ask you. The play calling, horrendous today. It was awful the entire day. I thought they ran so many I was texting my dad during the game. So many predictable plays. Like short side of the field, we're going to run this misdirection option. What are you expecting? A pistol option on the short side of the field, like there's no space to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, and sure, I think a lot of it is obviously player execution, right? But there was just, like you said, so many predictable plays, and like that slow developing option to the boundary side of the field that was just a loss. A couple other like misdirection plays where the running back has to slow down, gets the ball, and then there's just nothing there. I mean, and we haven't been that good of a run blocking team this year, right? And just those shotgun handoffs up the middle for nothing. And I just thought that a lot of it was just poorly schemed, poorly timed, and just didn't get the playmakers the ball when we needed to get them the ball. It was extremely frustrating watching the offense. And I mean the whole day, but specifically the second half, when again Nebraska played a terrible game and they probably could have won.
Yeah.
It's extremely frustrating just thinking about that.
Yeah, I was texting people during the game saying the same thing. Look, the defense didn't show up in the first half, especially against a very, very predictable and not very good Minnesota offense. And Adrian Martinez played a terrible game, and they're right there at the end. And it doesn't make any sense, and that's what makes you so frustrated as a fan, because you see that and you don't get it, because they play so bad in some of these areas and they're right there at the end. And it's because they have talent and they have some areas that improve. But, I want to throw this on here, and I do want to ask you this question. I see a comment right here, and I kind of want to ask you, I am the biggest fan of Adrian Martinez. I have been. Okay. I've stuck by him for so long. But, looking at this comment and seeing what's happening in college football lately, Florida today benches their quarterback they had been a decent team this year. Oklahoma's undefeated. Rattler is benched. I'm not going to sit here and say it has to be done now, but what are your thoughts on the whole quarterback thing right now with how Martinez played today? I mean, he's had a great year, though.
I like Martinez a lot, and I think he's a great athlete. I mean, he has records at Nebraska, but he also has the turnover record at Nebraska. You
He
can't
has
do
some
that.
huge processing issues in the passing game too. He does.
And whether that's his fault or the guy that's coaching him his fault, and you get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars every year to make this 4-year starter a guy that can just win 6 games for us. Like, whether it's him or Martinez, probably a combination of both. But I mean, at this point in the year, I don't know where Martinez is head at as far as coming back next year. But if he's not, I mean, I hate to say it, but we're not going to beat Ohio State, and you're probably not going to beat Iowa. And I mean, so we're probably not going to a bowl game, right? So if Smothers is the guy next year, do you give him 2 weeks from Monday and say, hey, you're going to be playing, maybe not starting, but at some point you're going to be playing this upcoming weekend? I don't see why not. I really don't. I really don't see why not. Obviously it's sad. I don't see Nebraska going to a bowl game this year. They needed to win today. So yeah, why not give Smothers a shot at this point, whether it's starting or just some point in the game?
Yeah, and I sit here and debate it as well because I see the whole bowl game talk, and you know, you're right. They're not going to beat Ohio State. It's going to take a miracle. But you look at the other games; they should be in them with the way they play defense. They should be competitive in those games. But it's hard to sit here and believe in Nebraska because they find ways to not finish each week. But the more I kind of look into it, I would kind of agree with you in that you got to think there's going to be a shot because right now, Martinez, we know it. He's a great athlete. He's shown the ability sometimes in the passing game, but that processing part of the passing game is not working with him. And maybe if there's a different guy out there, maybe if Smothers has a whole game, you see him actually do this and he's able to use the process and he's able to process the game better and make those throws on time, accurate, that Martinez wasn't today because there was a lot of throws that Martinez missed down the field. I remember the one to Falk earlier in the game. He missed a ton. He did. And so his accuracy is off and he's not seeing the field well. So that's where you sit here and debate. That's what Rattler's having problems with. He was inaccurate and he wasn't seeing the field right. They moved to another quarterback. Maybe, I love Martinez, but, man, you got to make a move eventually for the future of the program, especially if you want to save your own ass, too.
Right. I mean, I really thought Nebraska was headed. I really, truly felt probably the best about where the program was and where this football team was, the best about it I have in probably 3-4 years. I mean, even after these losses we've had, and after the last week, I was at the Michigan game, and it was electric, and they played hard, and they fought, and there was energy. But I thought Nebraska was going to win today. I thought they could even win by a couple scores. But just in the back of your mind, you just know that they're capable of what we saw today, and it's not surprising. It wasn't surprising to me, and it's just really disappointing. And it all kind of goes back to Martinez and the 4-year starter and him, and just not being able to find ways to win games. I think we're like, I mean, the stats for our 1-loss games are just astronomically bad. I mean, they have to be like worst in the nation, some of them. So
is it 5-18 or something like that?
Yeah, I'm 5-18,
yeah,
and then like 0-5, and I don't know. I think like the past few, I forget what it is, but
yeah,
I mean it's terrible.
Twitter, yeah.
So I mean that's a combination of the guy that gets the ball at the end of the game all the time in his hands, which is the quarterback, and the coaches and setting guys up for success. And I think Frost will, even if Nebraska doesn't win another game this year, I think Frost will be here. So I mean, at this point now, that's kind of a realistic thing, though, right? Like, does Nebraska win another game this year? So I see right now, Purdue just scored. They're up 7-0. They're going to be up 7-0 on Iowa right now. So, do we beat Purdue? I don't know. We're not going to beat Ohio State. Wisconsin's still Wisconsin, even though they're having a bad year. And in Iowa, they just have our number. So I don't know if we win another game, but I do still think Frost is here next year, and that's going to make a lot of people angry. But at this point, maybe he like I'm going back to the Martinez conversation. I if he doesn't do anything here within the next game, then I think they got to give somebody else a shot.
Yeah, and I mean, you make a good. I think that they should be competitive in 3 of the 4 games. Not even to say they could be competitive in 4 of the 4 games to end the season because they have the defense to do it, but they can't close games. They make too many dumb mistakes, and you just can't beat teams like they have coming up on the schedule when you do that dumb stuff. Especially teams that are sound like Wisconsin, Iowa, Ohio State. But man, the thing that concerned me today, of everything, of all the bad things that happened today for Nebraska, why was there no fire? Like, why did they come out like they didn't care at all?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they giving up? I don't know. It's just when you see no fire like that, and I know there's a lot going on with the Chenander deal. There's a lot going on around the program. All these close losses. There's a ton. But why is there no fire at all? I mean, the defense started showing some in the second half, but they're just, I don't know. It didn't even seem like they wanted to be there and play today.
I was going to say the same thing. Um, I'm not down there on the sideline, but I mean, obviously, I watched the whole game, and I mean, I thought it looked like Cam Taylor wanted to be there.
Yeah.
He played a great game, blowing people up. The interception that I thought he wanted to be there. Austin Allen had a great game. Other than that, like just especially the first half, to your point, it was just dead. There was just nothing. There was nobody, you know, getting in somebody's ear or getting after it. And I don't know where that comes from. Earlier in the week, I don't know who said it or where I heard it, but it was something I think Frost said about the team being ready for a bye week. And just when he said that, I was just like, oh God,
Yeah.
here we go. I mean, if there's guys that are ready for a break, I get it. I mean, you're playing a really hard sport where you're getting banged up. But if you don't embrace that and you don't love it, and you don't want to play every single week, even on your bye weeks, you don't want to play that week. You'd rather sit at home. Then, like, dude, you're gonna get mowed over, and that's what happened in the first half today. So when I heard that earlier this week, I just didn't have a good feeling about it, and I don't know. Maybe that's where some of the lack of the energy was. Is they wanted to just go in and pick up the easy win today, and then fly home for a few days and take a few days off, and it kind of showed.
Yeah, it's got to be really, really disheartening for the defense as well because, I mean, yeah, they didn't play a good first half at all, but they played a tremendous second half, and they just continue each week to show up and give this team a chance and give the offense numerous opportunities, and they just fail. And I saw it late in the game, and I had people text me. They're like, "Oh, they can get a stop right here and have another chance." And I'm like, "There's only so many chances this defense can sit here and give to the offense." They'd given them like 5 in the second half. Like, how many more can you ask? They were making stops. It's got to be tough for the defense because there's been a ton of strides this year, in that they had an experienced defense coming back. We're very, very excited about it, and it's lived up to the billing. It has, but just the little things and just an inability to finish. It just continues to show up. Why don't they get under center and run a quarterback sneak when they're on the inch line? I don't know. I saw Frost in the postgame said he was thinking about it, but just decided that like the personnel and everything wasn't going to be best. What do you mean? Oh, you got linemen in front of you, and you just go take the snap and you just push. That's all it is. There is no personnel about it. It's just line up and get an inch. Have Yant behind him who's 240 pounds pushing him.
Yeah, I don't get why we can't do that. I don't even get why we don't run a quarterback sneak more often on 3rd and 1. I feel like I've said that for so long. I feel like, man, every time they go to shotgun, it's just like, it's kind of a 50-50 when you think about it. Because if a D lineman gets through, he's got a great shot at just upending the quarterback or the ball carrier. And it's kind of a 50-50. With our offensive line, it is. With a really good offensive line, I could see maybe the shotgun being more of a 80 to 90% success rate on those type of plays. But with our offensive line, I would trust them more just saying, hey, there's a guy in front of you and you need to move him 10 inches,
Yeah.
Some of that stuff is just head scratching. I thought the defense, they continued to just fight and scrap. Ben Stilley fighting through like a double block to freaking bring that one guy down and running back down on third and 3 or 4, and they made him punt. But yeah, I mean, people are always texting me too, and here we go, we got 4 or 5 minutes, and we just need a touchdown, and it's like you really don't have any idea how incredibly hard it is for Nebraska to get a touchdown right now, and sometimes they need a touchdown, and sometimes they just need a field goal, but we don't really have confidence in the field goal. So at that point, it's just doing everything we can to get a touchdown, and then it's just, I don't know. You get down there, you make a few plays, and it stalls, and before you know it, the game's over. And what was a great opportunity to get a win on the road like this, and it's just gone. It's over, and you're left wondering how the hell it happened.
Yeah, I thought there were way too many third and longs today. They really would, like you said, they hit Allen with several big passes, would get across the 50, get in that range where you need to start locking in and get points. And I'm not going to necessarily say it was the play calling. I still didn't think it was good. But Martinez not using his speed at all on any of the downs. Like, I mean, we're just taking the biggest part of Nebraska's offense this year out of the game because we're just going to sit back here. We're going to run this mesh point motion that's just an outside zone play that's just not run well. And then you get -2, and then you try to run again thinking you're going to fool them. And then it's like 3rd and 10, and you're like, oh, let's sit back here and pass instead of maybe Martinez runs it for 7 or 8 and you have an easy 4th down. Because I thought on the short opportunities they were decent today besides at the goal line. But on the 3rd and longs, it was like someone was in Martinez's head like, you have to throw this today. No running. And, I mean, maybe that's something they were trying to work on because it seemed like it because he didn't have any pocket awareness at all to say, I've got to pull it down and run. And I thought he's had that in the past, but not today at all.
Yeah, they didn't really – I don't think they really got him out of the pocket much. And I don't know. I don't really like Martinez in the pocket, to be honest with you. I think sometimes he drops back he just kind of just stands there. And you just see this pressure coming from behind him. And if he would just take maybe one step up in the pocket and give his offensive, his tackles a chance to hold that block a little bit longer, he'd give himself a couple more seconds to make a read or just to, get upfield. But he kind of just stands back there flat-footed and there's not much movement. And then, it just puts himself in really tough positions. And yeah, like you said, I don't know why he wasn't out of the pocket more. We had to run like 40 QB draws last year. I don't even know if we ran one of those today.
No,
so I'm just kind of perplexed watching the offense sometimes, and just how quickly our offense gets off the field sometimes. It's just like, man, you had it and you really you did nothing.
Yeah, and they just don't have a between the tackles runner who can grind out yards. I was watching the Texas game while I was watching the Nebraska one, and Bijan just grinds out those yards. We don't have that. Rahmir, I really like Rahmir. He's got a ton of speed on the edge, really good in the receiving game. But as far as running up the middle, you'll see him run hard, and it's like he hits a brick wall and flies back. He doesn't have that size to do it. He's trying. But right now, with some of those big backs they have in Stepp and Yant, they're not stepping up to help in that power running game. I mean, Yant looks a little bit lost out there at times. I noticed that in the Michigan game last week when I went and rewatched it. He has a screw up, and it screws up the whole drive. And then Stepp, who knows where he's been? Nowhere. But I did want to throw this comment up there. Props to the defense for everything going on with Shenander. That must have been really tough, the last couple of days with that going on. And this defense showed up not ready for the start of the game, but they really gave the team a chance late in that game.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I didn't think that Eric would have even been there today. I mean, personally, I don't know if I could have done that being on the field like that. So, hats off to him for being there for his guys. I mean, that had to be extremely difficult. But then, yeah, I mean, just the defense just continuing to put their hand to their dirt and fight and give the offense just one more shot. They got one more shot. And just so many times, we've seen this though. And I personally just continue to have just such a fading sense of confidence, every time we get the ball back. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be the other way around. We got the ball back. Let's go score. And it's just, I don't know. I feel sometimes more confident when the defense is out there. Off topic, but I think I saw something today also that I think like the last time Nebraska won a game when they started or when they were down in the game was like in like 2018 or something like that. So we don't complete comebacks. Maybe we get close, but they don't complete comebacks, and we don't score. We don't, besides Northwestern, we just haven't found a way to score points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you. I was reading some of these comments. There's a lot of people commenting, but I'll just throw up a few of them. We'll rattle through a couple of them in a row. Ben Hart,
Okay.
I 100% agree. I don't know what is going on, but Martinez got hit like 7 or 8 times today because of Ben Hart, because he can't block one-on-one. I don't get it at this point. I know they lost Teddy to injury, but maybe there is nobody else. I don't know.
I don't. It was him. I know that number 70, Sichterman, whiffed on a couple of them that got Martinez blasted. We had a really bad false start there at the end on the offensive line. So I don't know.
That was on Mooney. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know about the offensive line, and I don't know. Maybe if you see a coaching change there at the end of the year too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this comment is extremely interesting. I don't agree with the last part that this defense will be laughable next year. I think they're improving because Shenander is a good defensive coordinator. And if you look at some of the guys, if we were to look ahead to what they have coming back next year, the linebackers have improved tremendously. They're back. You've got a bunch of guys mixing in on the D-line like Ty Robinson, like DeAndre Thomas, that are going to be guys that are ready to go. Maybe Caleb Tanner, Garrett Nelson, I think they should be back as well. And, yeah, you're going to lose some in the secondary. Braxton Clark has played good in times that he's been on the field this year. Quentin Newsome is going to continue to improve. At least you'd hope so. He's kind of been hit or miss this year. But you got to think that this team, a lot of the COVID stuff right now, a lot of teams are going to lose guys after this year. It's going to happen. A lot of guys stayed for an extra year. They're going to be gone. So it's going to happen to a lot of programs. But I don't think that this defense is going to fall apart. I don't think this is the one year they're going to be good. I think they have a lot returning and a lot that's improved.
Yeah, I think that especially the linebackers, and I think they'll be all right next year for sure. But I think definitely going into this year, I thought that one of the reasons, before we even played our first game of the season, I thought one of the reasons to be really hopeful about getting 6 or 7 wins this year, I mean, that's not going to happen now, but one of the reasons to be hopeful was the defense. Because we have those young guys that are playing well, but also because you have, like Doman and you have Cam Taylor and Williams and yeah, obviously having those guys that, possibly could be on an NFL roster right now playing for the team, that obviously helps out a lot. But you have to think that a lot of teams are kind of in the same boat right now and will lose guys next year also. But I still think the defense will be good enough next year to win games that they should have won this year. It's just going to be who's the quarterback and how do they score points on offense.
Yeah, and I see people that keep commenting stuff about the defense, that it's not really that good this year. Like, I don't know if you're like spoiled into watching other like Georgia's defense or something, but like this defense in this day and age in football that is all offensive, it's been legit this year. Minus the Illinois game, it was not good in that game, but the other games this year, it has been legit time in, time out. Michigan, I know there was a couple things that got them in the Michigan game. I didn't watch the game live. I rewatched some of it, but overall, this is a really, really good defense in college football. I don't care if you go look at yards per game on these stats. Watch the game, and if you know football, you will know that this defense is a top 30 defense in college football. Go watch any of these other teams. Go watch Missouri or something like that. And then you can see what a bad defense is, because this defense is good, and they've shown it throughout the year. And I think that they have a bunch of guys that are going to be returning, and it's going to be just fine. But like you said, where is the offense going to go? What is next for the rest of this year? What is next for next year? And as far as you've got to find your guys, because time is running out. It's not running out on Scott Frost. Like I said, I'm with you. I think he's going to be back next year. But there's a lot of pressure right now, and it's time for him to produce and perform. And these guys got to be ready. And today, for them not to be ready is extremely disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, the defense has been stout, dude. Especially the D line. Those guys are, for the most part, and they had that big run they gave up at the end today, but they've been solid. I mean, I feel like I've said it so many times in the past few years, is the defense played well enough to win the game. If this defense, if they have a different type of offense and they're scoring points, they play well enough to win the game. I mean, you think about the Michigan State game. The second half, Michigan State ran 14 plays for 15 yards. I mean, dude, their running back, that number 9, we held him to like 50 yards rushing. The next week, he ran for like a school record 272. So, I mean, the defense is doing something right. It's, it's just, I don't know. It's really frustrating.
You watch, what Frost wants to do on offense, and I think they want this pistol. He mentioned it before the year, and you're starting to see what he wants to do. They want this downhill running. They want a downhill run. They want to use a little bit of clock, more than they have been, because they haven't been using any. And they want to just continue to move the chains and work down the field and then execute in the red zone. That's the biggest thing that he wants to do. He mentioned it before the season. They're not using a lot of clock. They don't have a downhill running game that's successful right now. Whatever is going on in the running back room, like I said, I think Ramir's been outstanding. He came into the year as the fifth-string running back. He's done everything and more you can ask from him. But the rest of the guys, I know Gabe Irvin gets hurt early, but you've been recruiting these guys for years, and you finally got these are your guys now. So what is going on? Are you not recruiting any running backs? Because right now you see, other than your fifth-string preseason running back, you've got like Sevion Morrison dropping a pass out of the backfield, not doing anything. You've got Yan, who's too young and he's just confused out there. You got Stepp, who just never did anything. Maybe he's in the doghouse. Maybe he just hasn't performed. But there's just so much that's not good with the running back room that I don't understand why you're not recruiting. That should be the main thing that you're recruiting right now, is you need to be getting these running backs, because if you want a downhill running game, go watch Texas. Texas is disappointing. They have 3 losses this year. They blow every game in the second half. We've all seen it. But what can they establish every game that Scott Frost wants to? They run the ball, and they're able to do that. And I think if Nebraska is able to run the ball, you're going to see the offense look better. I mean, Texas wishes they had a defense like Nebraska, because they'd be in a whole different position right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams, if they had a defense like Nebraska, would be in a lot better position. But yeah, I mean, the run game is just really abysmal, especially between the tackles. I mean, there's just nothing there, and you see him try to do it, and it's on first down, it's on second down, and they're not getting anything. There's just nothing, and so many times sustaining a drive is really based on getting yardage on those early downs, right? And even if you pick up a third and long, if you're not establishing 4 or 5 yards on some of these runs, then I mean it's really hard to sustain drives, and especially do anything in the red zone, which we see so many times Nebraska get down there past the 50 and then just not be able to do anything because they really don't have an interior run. And I mean, also credit to Minnesota today. And I mean, I think PJ Fleck's super annoying. I don't really like him, but he's a great coach. And he coached a great game today, outcoached Frost, in my opinion. And their game plan on defense was great. It was they weren't going to let us run the ball. They were going to give up those chunk plays, and they were not going to let Martinez do anything in the option game, and we had a couple of them, but it really seemed like they took the option away. They took Martinez, made him throw the ball, and that didn't work out too well here and there. So, hats off to them and being able to, I feel like outcoach us today.
Yeah, and you're talking about the importance of staying ahead of the chains, and you don't really realize it, but like looking at a team like Nebraska, we already know Martinez's flaws. He's not very good at processing in the passing game. So when you have a guy like that and you're set up in 3rd and 8, you're just playing into the defense's hands because they know he's not good at processing. They can run whatever kind of screwed up stunts on the front line. They can run any type of coverage they want in the back end to confuse him because he's not already good at processing. So what do you need to be successful for this offense? You need 3rd and 3s where you can go, you have to contain the running back run, the quarterback run, and the short pass. And not to mention, if you want to get all that and somehow have it all, you might be left on an island on a deep ball on 3rd and 3. That is why it's so important for them to stay ahead of the chains. When I kept seeing 3rd and 8 today, I already knew it was going to be trouble because that's Martinez's kryptonite. It has been for years now in Nebraska. It's 3rd and long because he's not that good of a passer. But you play to his strengths. You let him be in those 3rd and shorts, man, and you're just setting up this defense where they, 3rd and 3, maybe they have to bring a blitz, and then it's setting up quick passes for him to gain confidence. But if you can't do that, the offense is not going to be successful the rest of the year if they're set up in those 3rd and longs, especially with the defenses they have to face.
Yeah, sometimes too. I don't know if it's Martinez just not making the right read or if he's just locked on one guy. But I don't feel like, especially today, I didn't feel like we attempted very many just short, quick passes or intermediate throws. We did complete some good downfield passes, but I mean, you see Minnesota, it's a quick 5-yard out or it's a 10-yard curl and the guy has 5 yards of separation. It's just an easy throw, right? I don't know why sometimes we're not maybe just letting Toure run a really nice route, which he's capable of, or letting Omar Manning use his body size to come across the middle and just a nice little 5-yard slant. Just get the yardage and push those defenders back a little bit. Maybe that opens up the run. I feel like just so much today it was forcing the run, and then it was just, oh, we're in trouble, so now we're going to have to throw it downfield. And sometimes it worked out, and sometimes it didn't.
Yeah, and the O-line has to get better. I see a bunch of comments about the O-line. Yeah, it's not good, okay? But it has been improving slightly over the last couple weeks in terms of getting a little bit more of a push in the run game. But right now, Nebraska doesn't have the personnel to run the ball successfully. So I think there's a little bit there. The offensive line still needs to improve. But, I watched the Michigan game. I tried to find an end zone cam. I was working on it because I didn't get to watch it live, and I kind of wanted to see some of the processing things that Martinez was going to. And I think he does get stuck on one guy sometimes. And, the biggest thing quarterback coaches throughout the country will tell you is that you have to throw people open, not throw to open receivers. Because when you're playing this high of a level, you don't just have open receivers. If you do, you can't miss. That's an easy gain. Anybody can do that. You see him on TV and you're like, I could have made that pass. Yeah, those are the ones where he is open. But as far as throwing to open up receivers, you need to find that 15-yard dig route and see that guy that's sitting underneath and be like, I'm going to throw this ball because he's not going to be in that spot and it won't be picked. Yeah, I saw it today with Toure running that flag route on the outside. He was there. Martinez got scared of the underneath coverage, sailed it, incomplete. That is one that you have to trust your receiver. Throw him open and say, I'm going to bullet this in there because that linebacker's no way he's going to be good enough to make that play. And if there's one thing Tanner Morgan does, I am not a fan of Tanner Morgan. I don't think he's a very good quarterback. But if there's one thing he does in that RPO game is when he pulls the ball out to throw it, he knows where he's going and he delivers it and he trusts his ability and the inability of the linebackers to be quick enough to get their hands up and stop that pass. But he's throwing receivers open. That's why Minnesota was successful in the pass game today. But Nebraska made adjustments on that. And then you saw why Nebraska's defense was much better. But Nebraska's offense didn't make any adjustments.
Right. And I mean, a lot of that RPO in the pass game aspect of it, a lot of that relies on the quarterback getting the ball out quick after the play fake to the running back because that's sucking up the defense, right? And so, you have a second after you fake it, then to get the ball out because they're up. But if you're running an RPO and then you're giving those guys, if you just stand there in the pocket then for another 2 seconds, well, then that completely really negated, the point of the run fake, and then those guys are back in position. And yeah, to your point, I thought, Morgan did a great job of getting the ball out and putting the ball where the guy's going to be, throwing the ball and anticipating where the receiver is going to be. And a lot of the times we were just not even close to the receiver today. I think that kind of caught some guys off guard, um, but yeah, Martinez, he doesn't really have that anticipation. And I'd also really be curious to see, what Martinez's stats on getting passes knocked down at the line of scrimmage is. He's got to have a lot of those. There were 2 on one drive there, back to back at the end of the game.
Yeah, and again, that comes down to sometimes you get focused on one guy, and those D linemen, those big guys up front that are in the interior, they're not there for pass rushing. They will get there eventually, but they're kind of just there to get their hands up and block passing lanes. And you see that when they're engaged and they know they're not getting to the quarterback unless he runs up and scrambles into them, they're going to get their hands up, and all they're doing is watching his eyes. And if he's locked in on one thing, it's easy for him. It's super easy if you're locked in on one guy and they can just stick their hand up because they know where it's going. So that comes down to Martinez again. Just he hasn't made those strides in the passing game, and it's disappointing to see it. But you see so many other areas in Nebraska. I see a comment. Yeah, Nebraska still doesn't have the pass rush. That's one thing that's missing on the defense. If there's anything that's wrong with it, the pass rush is still not there. It's a bunch of run stuffers up front with relying on Caleb Tanner and Garrett Nelson to get pressure. And those guys have grown a lot, and I think they've became solid pass rushers in the Big Ten. But you're going to need more than that if you want a really, really good defense. And Nebraska's defense is good, but it's not really, really good because they don't have the pass rushing. But that doesn't even speak to the offense is the problem right now because the defense is just fine. But if the defense wants to take the next step, yes, that is the thing. They need pass rushers.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that earlier. I mean, that's one thing they've been lacking for a long time now. And yeah, I mean, they do a great job of stuffing the run and blowing up those interior plays. And I think sometimes we're just a half step too slow from getting the quarterback. But yeah, I don't know if we had a sack today. And I mean, you should be able to sack that guy.
Yeah.
So they sometimes are just a little bit too late. Sometimes I think it looks like the linebacker or the corner. I think they're kind of timed weird, and they come a little bit late. And obviously, if you bring a late blitz, then that's going to open up a wide receiver. And I think a couple of times when we did bring a fifth guy, we had way too soft of coverage. You got to know that if you're bringing a blitzer as a defensive back, that the ball's probably coming out quick. So if it's 3rd and 10 and the guy gets to the sticks, you have no reason to be at a 5-yard cushion. That was a little bit frustrating to see, but that's very nitpicky for the defense that's been playing well enough to win games.
No, yeah, and if we're being nitpicky, I mean, you saw it a couple times. Minnesota took advantage of matchups they had. They had a matchup with the running back on linebacker. We know that is a good matchup for Minnesota, and it doesn't favor Nebraska. But when you play 2 high safeties, bring a blitz, and you trust him to guard that guy, it's not going to happen. I mean, you're going to have somebody down there to help, and you know Minnesota is only going to take a couple shots throughout a game. It's what they've been known for, but they're really just going to stage a drive out. They want a 15-play drive that takes 8 minutes. That's what they want. They do it all the time, and they did it earlier in the game against Nebraska, but the adjustments were great, and that's what has given me some hope this year is that there has been adjustments on the defensive part. And that's something I haven't been used to seeing over the last couple of years. So that's got to continue. Chenander's doing a great job dealing with a lot, and he's doing a fantastic job with that group. Position coaches as well, guys like Barrett Ruud with the linebackers, he's doing fantastic. But, yeah, the offense is – I mean, it seems like every single week they bring up a new thing, and you're like, gosh, that's not good. There's another thing that's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they're +2 in the turnover category today. I mean, if you come in today and you're like, hey, Nebraska's going to be +2 in the turnover category today, do you think we win? Yeah, we win. I
Yeah,
mean,
especially if you add in that Ramir Johnson's going to have 2 rushing touchdowns. You're going to go, oh, they're going to kill him.
yeah, yeah. It's just really puzzling to think about it today. Um, I don't know. So, off topic, but were you at the Alabama game last week?
I was, yeah.
Oh wow, so you saw that upset?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was starting I'm starting a business called Game Day Liner where we sell turf truck bed liners.
Okay,
With,
nice.
with college logos on them, and we have like tailgate portions and all that, and it looks really, really sweet. So I went down there to sell because we have licenses to Alabama and Texas A&M. So I went down there and I was like, I'm going to go party with the fans and enjoy the game. And it turns out, you get that upset. It was crazy though. Some Alabama fans were trying to fight me. I was rooting on Texas A&M, and I was I bought a shirt that says Tuska losers, and they were just so
Hmm.
mad at me. So
That's funny.
yeah,
Yeah, I've been.
it was a great game, and I was texting people because I was wondering about the Nebraska game, and I heard that environment was outstanding, and I didn't even know it until after the game at A&M, but they broke an attendance record at that game.
Yeah, yeah. So I was at the Michigan game, and it was. I mean, I don't think I'd ever. If it were up to me, I'd probably stand for the entire game except for like commercial breaks, and that was pretty much what it was. Like honestly, like the entire stadium, like even on offense, obviously we were quiet, but it was just standing up, and it was a great atmosphere, and it was really fun to be at. What was kind of crazy is I'd never been in a game where we, basically everyone was there until the very end, right? So once it ended, like everyone left right away, and there was just like these massive bottlenecks, and people just like literally standing still. And like I heard some really horror stories of traffic jams with people trying to get out of that game. It was insane, but great
Yeah, I mean,
atmosphere.
I was kind of looking forward to Nebraska, beating Minnesota, beating Purdue, and then you get that atmosphere again against Ohio State.
Right. So
And
you're probably not going to get the fourth quarter lights against Ohio State. That'll probably be a 11 a.m. BTN special uh,
yeah,
for them.
yeah, it should be. Who knows? I mean, I still think that Nebraska goes and beats Purdue next week. You're still going to see the energy in there because it's like Texas A&M. Like a lot of people around Texas A&M, when I was asking them what they thought of the game before the Bama game, they're all like, "We're going to get killed by 30." Like they had given up because they lost 2 in a row. But anything can happen in college football. You put together the right plan and you execute. But we haven't seen that from Nebraska, so it's hard to imagine that. But I mean, don't you think it would make the most sense? No, it really wouldn't make a lot of sense, but it would just confuse a lot of fans to see Nebraska, at this point right now where everybody's like fire frost and then they go beat Ohio State and then everybody goes, what do we do now?
Yeah, I could totally like just see that just because like it's us and just like something for I
Well,
don't.
that's what I was telling the people down in Texas A&M. I was like, isn't this the most obvious Alabama wins by 30 game that it's not going to happen? And you look at the
Yeah.
Ohio State game now with where Nebraska's at, and you go, isn't it the most obvious Ohio State wins by 28, wins by 21, that it's not going to happen? Sometimes it works like that in college football. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like some of these games that we have been heavy underdogs in, not or maybe not heavy, but we've been underdogs in. I feel like we come out and we just play a lot looser, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think the players came out today, and I think they thought they were going to win the game. I thought that they came out and they thought, the guy next to me is going to do good enough, and they maybe all had that mentality, and it just really flopped. It just really took the air out of watching with hope the rest of the season at this point.
yeah, absolutely.
So
Um,
I don't
any
know.
uh, any final thoughts?
No, I don't know. I would encourage everyone to continue to watch and support, and you know obviously you're probably not watching with the same type of emotion. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now, where uh, I'm not investing as much in emotion because it's just not worth it, because it's just such a letdown sometimes. But I mean, I'm still a fan, and I'm still going to root. I'm still going to hope that we're going to win, right? But I hope that everyone can can still have a great rest of your day and enjoy college football. Purdue's beating Iowa by 7 right now. Maybe this will be a good game. So I don't know. Don't let it ruin your day, and just hopefully Nebraska can beat Purdue and make the most of what's left, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And people might say that we're being homers and we're being too optimistic, but I just don't see any reason to look at everything and be like, I'm done with this, I'm done with it. Fire everyone, get rid of everybody, clear house. It doesn't really do anything. Look, it's disappointing what is going on right now and what happened today, but there is some things that are going right for Nebraska. They have improved in some areas this year tremendously. So just continue to support. I mean, you got to hope the rest of the season, maybe these last 4 games they play a lot better. That's what we're all hoping for. But, yeah, stay on. Just keep rooting for them, and you got to think things are going to turn eventually. Nebraska fans deserve a break there. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't have to be I don't think you have to be dumb optimistic about it. But, you can either let it ruin your day or you can just be mad about it and watch next week. I guess that's kind of where I am at right now. I'm not happy about it, but I don't let it ruin my days like I used to. And it's disappointing. And, obviously the season doesn't look too good right now, especially on the win-loss category. But what are you going to do? I mean, it is what it is at this point. I hope they win next week, and that's where I am right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Good having you on, Chris, and look forward to it next week.
Yeah, you too, Zach.